afternoon, family and friends. Welcome to this moment when we pause to remember the life and times of our beloved Preleena Ramlall. I would like to also take this opportunity to welcome those that are joining us via live stream and to encourage us wherever we are to join in the remembering, to join in as we share our pain, as we share our hurt, and as we share the little smiles that this memorial might bring to us. Shall we just stand this afternoon? So to begin the proceedings, I just want to read a short tribute that was circulated to the WITS community, and that's edited this afternoon. But this is what it said. Preleena was a career counselor and a master life coach at the Counseling and Careers Development Unit at the WITS University. She sadly passed away on the 7th of November 2020 after a courageous battle with illness. She was a beloved wife, a wonderful mother, a daughter, friend, relative, and colleague. She was a cherished member of the staff team and a proud WITSie for 22 years. During this time, she dedicated herself to her work. She always wanted to be of service to others and was generous and supportive and made a huge impact in the lives of so many individuals. She is remembered for being a gentle and compassionate individual with a deep and resilient spirit. All who knew her were richly blessed. Preleena's passing has left a void that's quite definite, and she will surely be missed. Our memorial today is in honoring this beautiful soul. Shall we just bow for a moment of silence? Thank you. You may be seated. So, family and friends, as we gather, we have a formal program that we are going to go through. And my hope is that our time together will be in the beauty of Preleena's memory. Our program will have 3 parts to it. Essentially, we'll have a section in which some of the staff will speak to Preleena's memory. And you'll get to hear from some of the colleagues that she's worked with. The second part, you'll hear from some of the students that she's touched. Some of the work that she's been involved in for the last 22 years or so of her time here at WITS. And in the third part, we will then obviously hear from family in terms of that aspect of Preleena's life, which not all of us were party to or privy to. And so we'd like to share in those kind of memories as well. Yeah, so it's going to be a long afternoon, or at least some time together. In between that, we have a couple of video clips that we would like to play as well, so we'd sort of share in that as well. But if you need to, please note there are restrooms to the right of me once we exit this building, and so you can use that if you need to as well. So without further ado, I'm going to call upon Mr. Jerome September, the Dean of Students. He's the first speaker on our program, and he will pay his respects. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Firstly, to Preleena's husband, her children, and the family. Welcome to WITS University. Sorry that we meet under these circumstances, but welcome to this university in any case. Good afternoon to colleagues, friends, and the broader WITS community who's joining us via this live stream. Preleena was a special part of this university. She played a special role in what we see our core function to be. And our core function is to prepare young people for the world beyond this university. It's to shape them. It's to mold them. It's to hold them. And it's to send them out into the world not only as better people for themselves, but we hope in service of humanity. And Preleena was at the core of that project. She was at the heart of what we tried to do as a university. Students walk in perhaps thinking that it's a career-related issue, or perhaps thinking that it's a bigger mental health-related issue. And so she would hold them in the careering space, in the mental health space, but through the important life coaching work that she began to do, I think from around 2015 or so, in that space, she was also helping them think through what it is that they want to do with their lives, think through the options that are available, give them a sense of hope, give them a sense of purpose, give them a sense of belonging, and give them a sense that perhaps this place, their place in the world, is not as shaky and uncertain as they may often have thought it to be. She was at the heart of what a university is about, the development of young people. And so we cannot talk about WITS as a great institution without remembering and honoring the people like Preleena who actually make up the fabric of this place. And so we honor her today, and we honor her memory today. Preleena, as you will know, graduated from this great university in 2007 with a Bachelor of Education Honors degree. So she's not only a Witsi through profession, but she chose this university also in terms of her studies and preparing her on her journey. And so when we say she's a part of this university, as a student, she became a Witsi for life, and in her professional life, she chose us again as the place where she would make her contribution. I'm not going to go through her other work experience, but she joined WITS, as you'll know, on 1 September 1998, 22 years of service. She joined us as an assistant career development officer in the career development unit at the time, now known as CCDU. She was promoted to part-time student employment placement officer in August 2001, and that position was later upgraded to that of career educator in May 2005, and that was the title she held. Additionally, she contributed as a life coach at the CCDU, and of course, as I mentioned, that was probably one of the most important roles that she played. I personally had the honor to meet Preleena. Now, I'd lie if I were to say that I knew her very well. I did not. I'd lie if I were to say that I had daily interactions with her, because I did not. My position doesn't often allow that to be the case. But I remember the first time I met Preleena, and it was the year I arrived in 2018. And it was this calm, gentle presence. And not gentle as a sign of weakness, but gentle as a sign of incredible inner strength. And then there was the smile on the face that one just cannot forget once you've encountered it. And when she spoke, it was always in a very measured but yet such an impactful way. And always from a place of love and a place of care and a place of wanting better and wanting more. And that has been the image and the memory of her that has stayed with me since that first meeting, and confirmed with every subsequent meeting. A gentle person, this lovely smile on the face, but someone who was such a key member of the CCDU team. And I remember when we received the news of Preleena's passing, and I shared it with the senior executive team, there was the sense of shock in the team, and I remember the registrar was one of the first people who said, oh, she was an anchor. She was such a strong part of the CCDU team, such an important part of the CCDU team. And from the Vice-Chancellor to the Deputy Vice-Chancellors to the Deans, who just had the sense of shock that she is no more. Because I guess, although we know our loved one is sick, and I guess although we know what the illness is, and perhaps even though we begin to see that the person is passing, that deep inside, there's always that hope that perhaps not this time, that perhaps we have a bit more time, that perhaps things will turn out differently. And so, as university, our heartfelt condolences to you, to the children, to the family. When we say she was a Witsi for life, we mean that she embodied the very best of what this university is about: excellence, high standards, the hard work, the deep compassion, the deep care, and the deep commitment to serving our students and to building our nation. And so when we think of Preleena, those are some of the things that we will hold dear to: that gentle smile, the commitment to service, the commitment to the development of our students. And we want to thank you, actually, for having shared her with us, for having allowed her to, and walked the journey with her, to come into her full in this space, because the type of work she did, she could not have done with the excellence that she did if she did not have that support system. So we want to thank you. Thank you for being here today. We honor her. She will always have a special place in our hearts. And so, Preleena, may you rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
So thank you, Jerome, for that. Yes, indeed, Preleena was part of the fabric of WITS. Actually, she is part of the fabric of WITS. And so even as WITS celebrates or gears towards celebrating 100 years of existence, Preleena is etched in that memory as well. So up next, I'm going to call Anne Lansky, the head of CCDU, Preleena's immediate line manager, and she's going to address you this afternoon. Colleagues, for those that are speaking, unfortunately the sound online is a little low, so you're going to have to hold onto this mic and speak as much as you can. Thank you. Anne.
Dean of Students, family, friends, colleagues and students. With the passing of Preleena, we have truly lost a beautiful soul. Deepest condolences to Vikash, to Nani, to Ashira, Karina and Shahil, family and friends. We continue to pray for you and keep you in our hearts at this very painful time. Preleena was a cherished member of the CCDU. Preleena was a cherished member of the CCDU staff family and was a proud Vitsi, as the Dean has said, for 22 years. She was totally dedicated to helping, supporting, and training the students, and touched and lifted the lives of so many over the years. As the Dean has shared with you, she began working at the unit all those years ago, a lot in administration, and then moved on through her studies part-time to bachelor's, to honors, to master's in education. And then, yes, then as a life coach master over the last few years. And as a life coach, so many students, each year increasing in numbers, were requesting and benefiting from all those sessions with Preleena. In addition to her dedicated work and impact as a master life coach, a mentorship trainer, career counseling practitioner, diversity trainer, so too was her logotherapy work with so many students who really were invaluably blessed to have sessions with her on finding purpose and meaning in their lives. Preleena was gentle, always grateful, so grateful, respectful and dignified. She was one of the most authentic, compassionate people I have ever been honored, so deeply honored to know. She gave so much of herself in the service of others and was hugely generous and supportive. Pre was able to share such profound wisdom and insights, sometimes with few words, but with her whole heart. I will always cherish the memory of her containing, calming presence, and will always be grateful for the conversations that we had around spirituality, meaning, and purpose. She asked me in October last year how I saw her from my perspective. This was part of feedback she was working on for a logotherapy assignment that she was busy with. This is what I shared with her in a message. How do I see you? As a wise, spiritual, and wholehearted soul with rich capacity to give, with compassion and kindness. I see you as resilient, positive, and completely authentic, with an energy that is warm, containing, and inspirational. You have a strong intuition and are incisive with a deep knowing, intellectually and spiritually. I see you as someone who has unquestionable integrity and who I am so privileged and honored to know. I see you, and my gratitude to you goes beyond words. We will always be grateful to her for the gift she was to us at CCDU and to the students. As a true humanitarian, Preleena has left us with a beautiful and eternal legacy, some of which is well described in these words by an anonymous author. A beautiful soul loves without condition, talks without bad intention, gives without a reason, and most of all, cares for people without expectation. Another quote highlights some more of the legacy she has left with us. An unknown author expressed it this way: use your voice for kindness, your ears for compassion, your hands for charity, your mind for truth, and your heart for love. Preleena was one of the most treasured gifts of a lifetime. And we will live on and she will live on in the hearts of all of us who were blessed to know her. Pre, Wits and your CCDU family will always be eternally grateful to you, and we will love you always. May her dear soul rest in peace.
Thank you. So with that words, colleagues, family, I'm sure you realize that Preleena's influence was beyond just the Wits community. Indeed, she was a beautiful spiritual soul influencing wherever she walked. And so we have been privileged indeed to share in such a life. I'm going to call our next speaker, and that is Shameen Naidu. And she's one of Preleena's colleagues that worked with her quite closely, and she's going to share her tribute.
Good evening, Vikash, Pri's beautiful children, Mum, and the rest of the family. Good evening to our colleagues, friends here and those online. It was a real privilege to have known Preleena, whom I actually knew from the very first day of her starting at Wits. I remember thinking that she was really quiet when we first met. I very quickly learned that I was wrong. She started a year after me, and also still feeling like a newbie myself, we automatically reached out to each other. And I found that those first impressions aside, it was very easy to connect with Preleena. From the very beginning, she was always warm, kind, and gentle. I imagine that you're going to hear that a lot, as we all knew her to be that way. She shared easily and was incredibly generous with her time, attention, and affection. She talked easily about her life and the love of it, which was only Vikash at that time, before their children came along. It was such an honor to have gone to her wedding as well at the time. And more recently, meeting a few of her family as well, it was easy to put faces to names of those that she shared with us, whom she loved. With work, Preleena was indeed quieter, but not in a negative way at all. It was in a thoughtful way. She may not have always been the first to speak in meetings or discussions, but when she spoke, it was thoughtful, it was wise. It was almost as if she was a master life coach even before she started any of her training in that. I know I always admired her calm demeanor and the fact that she was always kind and compassionate. Once she did her qualification, though, she became an invaluable referral resource for us from the therapy team, and as a result, helped many students that were referred to her. And for that, she will surely be missed, as Jerome and Anne has already referred to. But more personally again, I did find out very quickly that Preleena's quietness was a cover. She enjoyed chatting, sharing, and connecting. We sometimes find ourselves saying of others who have passed on that they were good and kind, not to take anything away from others. But Preleena truly was one of those very authentic and loving people that never said a harsh word about anyone. A memory that has come to mind so often in these past weeks is having moments with Preleena, talking about family, life, spirituality, sometimes in the corridor, or sometimes in each other's offices in quiet times. And she would always reach out, to hold hands very warmly. This seemed to almost reinforce the social and emotional connection with something physical, tangible, and heartfelt. And this containing and loving gesture that immediately connected you to her. And Preleena had this very same connection with others in the unit as well. We can all claim to have had very close relationships with Preleena. I would often pass her office and find others there in very much the same way that I had been. So I can safely say that she will be missed by us all. And for this more personal connection and love that she offered freely. Dear Pre, until we are able to touch hands and greet each other warmly again, may you rest in peace and continue to be with God. Much love.
Thank you, Shamin. So, colleagues, indeed, I think, having spent so many years of my own journey with Preleena as well, I can safely say that the sentiments echoed by colleagues before me, absolutely true, absolutely genuine. The qualities of Preleena can never be outshone, can never be underestimated. So the next speaker I'm going to call to the podium is one of Preleena's colleagues as well, but a very close friend, almost like family, and that's Miss Eileen Maleka. And one of the words that kept on ringing in my ear, Eileen, as you get to the podium, and in this last couple of weeks as well, is just one single word. And the word that Pri and Eileen would sometimes share would be Bokkie. And so I want to call you over, Eileen, to the podium. Thank you.
Namaste. Sure, Priya and I love to cry, but never like this. Sure. There is a plethora of literature and interpretations given by social scientists, religious scholars, sages, and even non-believers about death. Since the 7th of November, I've tried to make sense of Pri's passing. My experience since her departure is akin to a snatching force that at times appeared ginormous and cruel, and now lately as an unquenchable longing and thirst. We all know, as Jerome said, on an intellectual level, that death is guaranteed from the moment of our birth. However, it remains a mysterious cloak that leaves an indelible, painful ache that nothing can soothe. whilst I admit that we probably experience Pre differently and uniquely, it pains me to see Vic's beloved Nani and her beautiful children and family, which were her greatest love in this life, without her. It is informed by me realizing that experiencing the death of a mother, a wife, a beloved daughter is so hard. Vix, Nani, beautiful Ashira, Karina, and Sasha, please know I continue to offer you my prayers and comfort, and now today, my words of shared pleasant memories. How do I offer a tribute to Pri, as she was more than a colleague to me? I've pondered and contemplated her many attributes and qualities since her passing. And as human nature has it, I postponed writing this tribute till late last night, as words appeared insufficient to express the miraculous connection we shared. I will try to share my experience of being her work colleague, my best friend and sister. It was customary for me to always tell Pri how much she meant to me on her birthday each year. I always told her she was a blessing to me and thanked her for the gift of friendship and sisterhood. This year, I sent her a WhatsApp message on her birthday, which was the 13th of September, as I wanted her to spend her day focused on first receiving the love of her family. Later that evening, I could not resist. So I called Pri just to hear her voice. She told me how she cried when she read my message earlier in the day, as it was a most beautiful message I had written her. I was pleased. The following day, on the 14th of September, I took Pri for lunch to celebrate this birthday. I fetched her from her home. She asked me to come in, and we sat in their sunroom. When I reflect on that day, I now recall that Pri almost seemed to stall our going for lunch. She rather asked me how she looked, and I remarked that, wow, Pri, you have lost lots of weight, but I envy you, because Boki, I'm still struggling. She laughed and commented that I look good, and that there was simply more of me to love. You see, that was Pri, always having the ability to make one feel good. During her birthday lunch, she asked me a strange question. I say strange because it was a joyous occasion, and we were chatting as usual about everything and anything, as we usually did. Out of the blue, Pri asked me whether I was afraid to die or scared of death. Very nonchalantly, I answered her that no, I used to be scared, but I was no longer. She looked at me very serenely and simply said, stopped, and then looked at me again and simply said she was not afraid to die. And she went on then to remind me once again of her 2 near-death experiences, highlighting the one she experienced recently during her time in hospital. I am sharing this with you because now in retrospect, I think she asked me that question to prepare me, to alert me that she was slowly slipping away from physical existence. But I was not aligned to her letting go, and I didn't get her deeper message. When we finished our lunch and walked back to my car, we discovered that my car had been bumped and badly scratched on both doors. I was upset and rather disgusted that the culprit had not even left me a note on my windscreen or apologized or explained this mishap. And I expressed this to Pri. She calmly told me, as she often did throughout our friendship, as only Pri could, that it could have been worse. I exclaimed, "Eish, Pri, you always so calm, even when people's behaviors are despicable." In her reassuring, humble voice, she reminded me that my anger would not serve me nor help me. This was one of Pri's greatest attributes. The ability to remain calm when the world was falling apart or in a state of chaos. Even at work or when we had deadlines that were looming, she was always calm. Thank you, Pri, for teaching me to go within and find a place of peace. Little did I know that this was our last celebration. We did not get to celebrate my birthday on the 15th of October as she was very ill. She called me to wish me and stated that we would celebrate as soon as she felt better. We never did, as she simply grew more tired every day. But we spoke over the phone, often for longer than an hour, until she please begged me to say goodbye so that she could rest. Heaven was knocking at her door. She was giving me hints and so many signs. This was one time I did not tune into her. I'm happy I did not, because looking back now, I know I would have struggled to let her go, and more importantly, would have made it more difficult for her to transition. I had the privilege and honor to work with Pri for 16 years. When I joined CCDU, she was on maternity leave with Trina. I don't know how we became so close. All I know is that I was curious to know who this lady was. When we started working together, it felt like we had known each other for a lifetime, forever. It felt like I was home. We were inseparable. It was strange for many of the staff to witness this closeness, and at times it even appeared that we irritated some people. But Pri and I laughed it off, stating that we were from the same soul family. It can only be explained as a grace from above, and I thank God. Who would have thought that me, applying to work at WITS, would give me one of my greatest treasures of my life, a best friend and sister? It was an absolute joy to work with Pri. She was simple and uncomplicated, always humble, always open to learn from others. Pri had no ego. It was more important for her to enjoy her work and do her best than outdo any colleague. We agreed on most approaches to our work, and the few times we disagreed, Pri always did so respectfully and gently. She listened so well. She even heard what I was not saying, and would often speak or anticipate or say something while I was thinking it. She could read me. Pri was also very curious. She asked many questions and always made me feel I was the only person in the world when we spoke. She gave me her full attention, and with those big, open eyes, she was ever present. We debated often about the students that we were serving, their well-being, their mannerisms, and way of being on campus. We always discussed how each student was a representation of our own children, and therefore encourage each other to simply give students a dose of care, love, and support, not only our time. We believed, after all, that we were instruments that created a better world and society through our work. In 2017, we each received an honorary award and accolade from the Golden Key International Honor Society for initiating and mentoring over 800 students at WITS, students that were part of the first year experience program, as well as part of many clubs, societies, and student bodies at WITS. Pri wrote the following quote in her Golden Key form, and I quote, "We grow by growing others, and if we want to receive, we must learn to give." That was the depth of her being. She understood her purpose in this work. She loved students and just wanted to serve. She was kind to all students, to all staff, even the ones who irritated and irked her. We co-facilitated many trainings and co-presented many papers at national and international conferences and did much more. We just gelled like two peas in a pod, and we worked so well together. I was the louder one and Pri the gentle, wise one. Pri was down to earth and so approachable. She never judged or ridiculed what was being said or presented to her, either by students or by staff. She always saw the good potential in every person. She was just a good human being, always affirming, always motivating, and constantly validating all who she came into contact with. She could laugh and be naughty, y'all just don't know. We shared many jokes, and she had a way of teasing one in order to make one feel okay. I'm sorry I can't share any of these jokes with you today. She would be most shy if I did. Pri and I spoke about everything and anything, yet we also shared many moments in silence, just comfortable in our beingness. We often commented that we did not need words to bond or to connect. We had the ability to remain silent. She had the ability, however, to remain silent, especially in meetings. I just needed to look at her during one of our meetings to remind myself to quieten down, shut up, and rather listen. You see, Pri was a teacher in so many ways. 2 weeks before she died, we entered the great silence in our relationship. I would call her, and she would not answer her phone. Then I would call Nani, her mom, who would explain to me that she was too tired even to hold her phone and speak. Another sign from Pri that she was withdrawing. Little did I realize that she was not silent now in the traditional sense, but journeying within and preparing to let go. So dear Boki Pri, as I often fondly called you, we continue to walk in silence now. Thank you for allowing me to share and achieve so many beautiful workings with you. Thank you for serving students. You made love visible through your work. Thank you for all the memories that will forever remain etched in my heart. I am eternally grateful that our time together at WITS was not merely us fulfilling our professional objectives or demands, but a meeting of souls. To Ashira, Karina, and Sasha, please know that your mother loved you and lived for you. I asked Pri a few years ago when Sasha started primary school whether she wanted to work full-time. She gave me an emphatic no and added that it was more important for her to fetch her children from school, spend time with them doing their homework or connecting with them than earning money. Pri put more emphasis on the important treasures of her life. Let's learn from her. It pains me that her departure happened this year when a pandemic has robbed us of so much togetherness, connection, and human touch. When Vix brought her to me in June, to the south of Johannesburg, when we were planning the new TTP Life Skills program for grade 10 learners, we were so happy to see each other and hugged. And she whispered to me, "Shoo, Vix is going to be angry. He says we must stop hugging." I am so happy we did hug. Then a few weeks later, I cooked my first meal for Pri for the first time in 16 years since I got to know her. And we spent the entire day together, eating, listening to the birds sing, and then ending the day in prayer at a church in Walkerville. This was the caliber of her beautiful soul. Though we were from different religious beliefs, the focus was not on that, but on knowing, sharing, connecting, allowing, and endless togetherness. To Vix, your love as a couple was a love we all envied at CCDU because Pri often spoke to us about it. All I can say to you is thank you for loving Pri as you did. Thank you for allowing Pri to visit me and share your precious time with me. If the void of her departure were to be filled, then she would never have lived. Therefore, no, it will never be filled. I will immortalize her life as she left an indelible mark on my soul. In closing, I leave you, Vix, Ashira, Karina, Sasha, beloved Nani, the extended family, Pri's friends, Wits colleagues and students, and especially myself with the following words by Canon Holland, and I quote, "Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we live so fondly together is untouched and unchanged. Call me by my old familiar name, yes, Bokkie Pri. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh, as we always laughed, at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, and pray for me. Let my name be ever spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all, and it has been all that it has ever meant to be. There is an absolute unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind because I'm out of sight? I am waiting for you. I am waiting for an interval somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well."
Sharing such intimate memories and experiences from the relationship that you shared with Pri. And yes, maybe at times in the unit we did feel, what's happening here, kind of. But those are still special memories to us all. And so thank you very much for sharing that. Indeed, I think Preleena, word to describe the relationship that you shared, and certainly with a lot of us as well, is soulmates. And so thank you very much for that, Eileen. Next up, Eileen alluded to Preleena's work with the Targeting Talent program. And I'm going to call our next speaker, Zina Richards, who's heading out that program. And year after year, Pri has dedicated her life to inputting into the lives of students, of young learners from high school, and encouraging them and guiding them in their journey. So to this is what this is.
Good afternoon, colleagues, to Preleena's family, to Bikash, to the kids, to the extended family, and to the CCDU staff and colleagues. Should I speak louder? Okay, I can raise my voice as well. Okay, thank you. Right, so I think everybody has spoken quite heartfully about their relationship with Preleena. My relationship with Preleena started in the early 90s when I was still part of the CCDU team. And if anybody had to ask me how I describe her, I'd use the letters of her name to basically share what she's meant and has sustained for me as an individual over time. So if I look at the letters of her word, the words in her name, it stands for perseverance, resilience, empathy, the E's are enthusiasm, love, nurturing, and angelic. And that was what Preleena was to me, and I think to many other people, as we've heard previous speakers say. In 2006, our daily interactions ended because I'd moved on to a different department, but Preleena was part of the Targeting Talent program, or fondly known as TTP, for the last 14 years. And the TTP program always has life skills as a component. As I speak a little louder, I can move closer. Thanks. So as part of the TTP program, Preleena was part of the life skills component. And the life skills component was an important aspect for youngsters who have been identified from rural areas across all provinces in South Africa. And life skills was an important component that mediated the psychosocial aspects of those learners' journey 3 years before they access higher education. With TTP Online, Preleena was there as an active member. I would sit in on her classes every Saturday morning that she presented to the grade 10 learners. Her impact is immeasurable. With face-to-face contact sessions, the evaluations would always refer to Preleena as an individual and the impact she's had on various people's lives. I was most struck a week ago when a grade 10 learner contacted me and said, please can you give me the number of the lady that taught us life skills in grade 10. And I just got a knot in my stomach because the learner was struggling with anxiety, and within the digital space, she was still able to feel the empathy, the nurturing, the care that Preleena had provided. I sadly had to say to this learner, unfortunately, Preleena has passed on, and that we would find somebody else to assist her. My fondest memory of Preleena is her laughter, and I think colleagues have referred to that. She had this guttural laugh that you only find in children, and I think whenever I hear that, it's always a reminder of true happiness, innocence, a loss of innocence for those of us who can't laugh like that anymore. So I think that is something I will always treasure about Preleena. The TTP community salutes you, Preleena. You will always be part of the community, and we will always remember you. As Rumi says, death has nothing to do with going away. The sun sets, the moon sets, but they are not gone. So to the family, to the friends, to CCDU colleagues, her memory will always be alive with us, and I hope that the work that we do going forward will always honor her legacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Zina, for those words. And family and colleagues, as I know it's been quite a while that we've been sitting now, but thank you to all the staff that have shared the experiences that you've had with Preleena. What we're going to do at this point, as we've done with the first section of our program, is we're going to turn our attention to the screen, and we're going to have a little video clip that the team has put together, just honoring Preleena's memory. Thank you.
Please pick a bunch for me and place them in my mother's arms. and tell her they're from me. Tell her I love and miss her, and when she turns to smile, place a kiss upon her cheek and hold her for a while. Remembering her is easy, I do it every day, but there's an ache inside my heart that'll never go away. So if roses grow in heaven, please pick a bunch for me and place them in my mother's arms and tell her they're from me. Tell her I love and miss her, and when she turns to smile, place a kiss upon her cheek and hold her for a while. Remembering her is easy, I do it every day, but there's an ache inside my heart that'll never go away. So if roses grow in heaven, please pick a bunch for me and place them in my mother's arms and tell her they're from me. If roses grow in heaven, please pick a bunch for me and place them in my mother's arms and tell her they're from me. Tell her I love and miss her, and when she turns to smile, place a kiss upon her cheek and hold her for a while. Remembering her is easy, I do it every day, but there's an ache inside my heart that'll never go away. So if roses grow in heaven, please pick a bunch for me and place them in my mother's arms and tell her they're from me.
So obviously some very beautiful, fond memories that we have of Preleena. And, I think the Dean started off with this, but to the family, thank you very much for sharing Preleena with us. Indeed, as you look at the pictures, we've walked this journey for many years together, and we've become a family here too. So thank you very much for that. With that, just to also mention, I think Preleena has been involved in quite a few student projects. The one that Zina talked about now is targeting talent. Eileen mentioned the mentoring. Anne mentioned the life coaching as well. So Preleena has been involved in quite a lot of huge projects involving students directly. And so what we're going to do at this point is we're going to invite a few student voices to come up and just to share some of their experiences. And the first of our speakers this afternoon is an ex-student, now a professional social worker. You can come up, Manini. This is Manini in Dimane. And she was an intern at CCDU a couple of years ago and is now a fully fledged student, employee in the workplace, but certainly been influenced by Preleena as well. So she's going to share with us. Thank you.
The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He comforts those who are crushed in spirit. With that verse, I'd like to greet you all, starting with Preleena's family, friends, loved ones, and colleagues. We are all gathered here today to pay our last respects, to honor and celebrate Preleena's life as we remember her and how she has touched our lives in various ways. As I've been introduced, my name is Manini Ndimande, and I'm a social worker. Where and how do I begin to describe Preleena? I first met Preleena in 2017 when she was co-facilitating a diversity workshop with Eileen for third-year social work students. Little did I know that the following year, she'd be supervising me with Eileen. Preleena was kind. Preleena was very humble. I cannot recall a day where Preleena walked past reception without greeting, sparing a few minutes for a conversation. She had a genuine interest in the well-being of others. Having listened to previous speakers, I was sitting asking myself, have these people been invading my thoughts, or what has been happening? Because everything that has been shared about Preleena is exactly the way it has been mentioned. I remember Preleena's calm spirit when I consulted her in 2018, thinking I'd chosen a wrong career. I was doing my final year. It was not nice. As Mr. Jerome mentioned, that we are being molded at Wits, we are being shaped to become professionals so that we are ready for the outside world. In informal academic terms at Wits, we used to say, courses chowing. That's when you knew that, oh my God, no, I've made a huge mistake by being here. How did I even get accepted into this institution? The demands were too much in 2018. Preleena set me down. Like a mother, she comforted me. Thereafter, after comforting me, confronting reality, she reminded me that challenges are part and parcel of this thing called life. She told me that it was not about the challenges, rather how one approached the challenges they encountered from time to time. As a supervisor, she reflected my strengths, which I was not aware of at the time. Preleena was human. She understood that as students, we are continually developing. We are in that process of being molded, of being shaped. Therefore, I stand here today believing that she aligned herself accordingly. Hence, she served us students with warmth, kindness, respect, and humility. The manner in which Preleena spoke to us, myself and other wellness champs, which were students, it conveyed respect. As senior as she was, she respected us. The manner in which Preleena responded to challenges arising from the wellness champs and various campaigns, it communicated unconditional positive regard. It saddens me that I am here today relaying my experiences with Preleena under such circumstances. However, I find comfort and take pride in having met such a humble servant of God. In Preleena and Eileen, I experienced God's peace and understanding. Preleena may be gone, but she will never be forgotten. May her beautiful soul rest in peace. Thanks.
Thank you, Manini, for that. And I think Manini is spot on. You know, I think in as much as there is the sadness in the room and in the last couple of weeks and a month or so, but there's also a time or a space to celebrate the life of Preleena. And that's what we do as we gather here this afternoon as well. Part of the memory is to celebrate all that she is, all that she has been to each and every one of us. So thank you very much for that, Manini. Our next speaker this afternoon is Katleho Gabaroni from the First Year Experience. So over to you.
Good evening to everyone that is here, the family, friends, colleagues. We are all gathered here today, not for good news, but the fact that we're all here, it shows that what type of person Preleena was. She was a unifier. And there was a time during hectic lockdown, I wrote a status on my WhatsApp, and I was asking, if one was to pass away, what would people remember you by? Or what legacy are you leaving behind? Because we all usually think that when we say legacy, it's only left by people that are renowned, your politicians, your celebrities, and so on and so forth. Not the ordinary guy next door or girl next door. But we all gather here today to reminisce, celebrate, and honor such a life, which is Preleena. Her date of birth, there's a hyphen or a dash, and then the date of passing. That little dash represents something far more bigger than us. It represents a life well lived by this lady Preleena. I met Preleena in 2010, a decade ago, and I was doing my second year at the time, and we were actually one of the guinea pigs for a first year experience program whereby senior students mentor first year students. And I see two other guinea pigs here because we were part of that guinea pig program because it was the inception of it at the time. And it was three ladies who were training us. It was Preleena, Eileen, and Lynette. So we'd have a week-long training during the holidays, and imagine from Monday to Sunday we sit here going through the training. And I'm naturally a shy person, so I'd always hide behind somebody else whenever they asked questions. But whenever Preleena had her sessions, she'd make us sit in like a circle, like a bonfire type of circle. And when it's like that, it's very difficult to hide yourself because you're pretty much exposed. So whenever she would ask a question, no one would answer. She would scan her eyes around the circle, and then that's when I would look down, pretend as if I'm busy or fidgeting or look for something. The moment I rose my head up, she was like, "Cat." And I was like, shucks, why me? And then she's like, what do you think? And I'd have to answer, of course. And then she'd continue doing that throughout the week. And then she realized that I was a bit, not really uncomfortable, but I was a very shy person. During the intermissions, she pulled me to the corner and said, Kat, I hope you don't think I'm picking on you. I'm just as shy as you, but there's something I see in you. I see goodness and greatness in you. But now if I let you sit there, keep quiet and shy, we will not be able to illuminate this greatness that I see in you. That was something that was very profound because how did she see that? And she saw it in me and made sure that I illuminated. That's the beauty and the art that Preleena had, or the gift that she had. Fast forward to 2011, I was now a lead mentor because I continued with the mentorship program. And now being a lead mentor, you're mentoring other mentors and you're also mentoring your own mentees who are in first year, so your plate is quite full. And by the time I was already at medical school, and I was still a member of other student bodies, so there was a lot of stuff on my plate. And usually I would have check-in sessions with Eileen because Eileen was my mentor. And there was a time I would go there because you'd have to make an appointment to have your check-in session. But some days I'll just rock up and be like, it's a bit much. You need to recalibrate sometimes. So they were my recalibration technicians where sometimes life gets a bit rough, you need to go speak to them. So I'd go there And unfortunately, Eileen was not available at the time. My pre was there. And she said, Kat, I'm here. Let's go talk. And there I was very flustered, telling her this and this happening in medical school, da 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 da. And she was like, Kat, calm down. Calm down. I'm not in a rush to go anywhere. Are you? So let's start from the beginning. What is going on? She had this sense of calmness that no one else I've experienced from anyone else. That's who Preleena was. She was a warm soul. Many, many people talk about people being warm and welcoming, but I don't think many of them understand when we say someone is warm, to what extent. And that's what Preleena was. Going back to the reference of that dash there, of the hyphen, that represents a life, and Preleena has had a good life. She was surrounded by people she loved the people around her, she loved her job. She had this sense of calmness, and that sometimes annoyed me, to be honest, because I was like, how do you just sit there and be so calm when everything around is just a storm and a whirlwind? And she said, it's part of life. That's how she was. She accepted things as is, and we keep on moving. To the family, our hearts cry out with you. To the colleagues, same thing. But at the same time, we also rejoice for the joy that she brought into our lives and the life that she lived. She was definitely a good person to many. She's left an indelible mark in our lives, and it is a definite great loss to human society as a whole. And we hope that with time, you'll probably find healing and solace again, because she would have definitely wanted you to feel that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Katleho. So our last student speaker for this afternoon is Dineo Molokome, one of the ex-students from the mentorship program. As she comes forward, again, you can hear family and colleagues. You know, sometimes we so don't hear those aspects, but Preleena has really been part of the fabric of its touch students directly. Very much. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone, particularly the family, CCDU team, former colleagues, former classmates, former schoolmates, the Dean of Students, and the family that we are at large. So I initially had to prepare a speech, but then I thought this would be more of a reflective moment of how Preleena's presence and coaching has stimulated my own growth and also just shaped the individual that I am through the program that I got to be a part of, working with her and Eileen, also through many other minor ventures that we were encountered while I was at VID's CCDU as well. So I met Preleena in 2014 and Eileen. At that time, I was still a mentee. I met her through Ramlall, who I took over from when I was now the assistant mediator between Eileen and mentees and mentors as well. So from what my colleagues or former colleagues and what everyone else has shared so far, I just want to remind everyone about the gentleness and the warmth that Preleena brought into our lives and how she's touched our lives, particularly as students. So when I got to WITS, I was a product of another mentoring program, which was also part of SEDMU, headed by Mama Zina. And I knew exactly what it meant to give back, because personally I had been given something. So when I started working with Preleena and Eileen, it was more about that giving back aspect, that ensuring that you learn to be selfless, that ensuring that you make sure that WITS becomes this path where each of us walk, holding each other's hands, and most importantly, it becomes that homely, genuine space where we can cry, we can share a lot, and we will still get to grow. So I worked with Preleena and Eileen for the at-risk mentoring program as a mentoring assistant, where I particularly was the mediator between the mentors and the mentees, also being a mentor myself. And I remember when I went for an interview for that job post, I was very nervous. As you can see, I'm shaking right now, but I'm I'm just trying so much to be calm, because it's part of the journey, it's part of the processes that when something big is coming your way, you get to feel it. And when I got into the interview room, I met two phenomenal women who made me feel at ease, who made sure that I was calm, and that through speaking and through sharing my parts of what is it that I wanted to do, being a part of the program, I felt at home. And that's exactly what being around Preleena and Eileen did. And I remember this other time, I was feeling so down. And Preleena would be that one person who would always come to ask, "How are you doing today, Dineo? Let's have a quick check-in session." I appreciated those moments, because that's particularly what one needed at a time. A lot of sentiments have been shared about the WITS environment, how critical and how challenging it can be at times. But from what I gathered being around Preleena and Eileen, is that those small challenges are not there to break you, but to build you. So what I took away from working with Preleena was that I always needed to face everything that I was encountering. I always needed to stand up and be strong. It wasn't easy, and that's how I cherished every moment of being in her presence, because she made sure that you would feel calm, you would feel loved, you'd feel all sorts of great, and it meant a lot. To not be helpless, but to find solitude, to find a place of comfort. And also in the process, ensuring that in whatever you do not lose momentum. You always tackle those things that are hard and are challenging. So during the program, We had a lot of activities. We went to camps. We sat and we did a lot of team building and life coaching activities as well. We had moments where we would have guest speakers who would come and just share moments of how to deal or how to cope with just a lot of issues that currently most of us need counseling around. For instance, just how to cope with being alone if you are an extrovert. How to cope with mental health, how to cope with loss, how to cope with a lot of other challenges that I won't mention. And I remember from those moments, we had to all just sit and bond. And it wasn't a forced bond because it came automatically. It's more like you're pouring your heart out because you're sitting with people who you genuinely find peace around, people who you genuinely find comfort around. And with that, I just want to say that from all the words that have already been shared, I truly agree. Preleena has been everything. She has been the center of peace during a chaos. She has been that eye and has always provided that critical eye to ensure that she sees, even when you're silent. I have also always been a shy person, but I also do have my moments where I need to burst that bubble. And when that moment comes, I know that I'm around people who will always see something. And that's what Preleena did. She always saw something. She always saw potential. And for that, even during the program, during all the other experiences that we've shared together, I just want to say that she has touched so many lives, and she will continue to do so in resting, because she has left that peace with us. She has left that love. She has left that mark for us to hold on to and to cherish her. With that, I want to thank everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. So family and friends, I think we are at the third part of our program, and we're going to hear a little bit from the family. But I just want to acknowledge the speakers that have gone before, and firstly to all the staff, thank you very much for sharing the sentiments and your experiences. To the students, thank you very much also for making yourself available this afternoon, evening now, and then also for sharing what Preleena has meant to you personally. You know, we are at that point in the year when we generally stop and take stock of what the year has been like for us. So every year at this point in time, we generally provide our year-end reports, our statistics, and as Eileen would be familiar with, what worked and what didn't work for us. But, you know, every year, Preleena would present her stats, and we'd think, wow, this from one person doing so much. So as you hear from the 3 students that have gone just before now, there are literally thousands of students that Preleena has touched. The TTP program, like Zina has mentioned, students look for people that have done the training with them or walked with them in their journey. And so Preleena has been that kind of person as well, impacting on many, many lives. So even as you see the candles before you, and I know that, it's difficult, but as we understand the fading of Preleena's light in the world, her light still goes on in the lives of so many other individuals. She's lit the candles of so many souls. She's unearthed so many potentials, like Danae just mentioned. So we celebrate that, we acknowledge that. And so at this point in time, we're going to hear from the family, and we're going to hear from Preleena's nephew, Pravir Ramlall. So thank you. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As a point of departure, I would like to thank you all for being here today. Additionally, on behalf of the family, I would like to thank you all for the support you have given us during this time. The messages, calls, visits, and everything you have done, we are eternally grateful. I never in my wildest dreams ever imagined speaking at Preleena Kaki or Auntie's memorial service. I am a procrastinator, but this speech was especially hard to write. I spent so much time trying to restart it in that where does one even begin to speak about the life of the late Preleena? And as such, I decided that we should start right at the beginning. Preleena was born on the 13th of September 1973 to Devika and Ishwarlal Bihari in Bakerton Springs. She also grew up with her auntie, Dolly Mami, and her uncle, Babu Bhai. As a child, she was full of life. She spoke to everyone that she met. She was caring and an amazing child all around. She attended Bakerton Primary and Secondary School, as well as completed a BA in psychology and a master's in educational psychology, life coaching, and logotherapy. Through this time, she met Vikash. He saw her while she was still in school and instantly fell in love. However, she made him wait 2 years before she gave him the yes. They eventually started dating and got married on the 19th of December 1998. And this relationship lasted almost 30 years. Through this time, they had 3 amazing kids, Ashira, Karina, and Shahil. And they have dedicated this poem to their mother. It's called My. You always seem to know what's wrong. You're always there to guide me. If at times I need support, you're always right beside me. You've been my rock throughout my life, wanting nothing in return. You've made me who I am today, helping me grow and learn. Thank you will never be enough for everything you have done. You're my friend, my counselor, my guardian angel, but most importantly, my mom. We have a message as well from Preleena's father-in-law, more commonly known as Dada. We have no choice of what color we're born, or who our parents will be, or whether we're rich or poor. What we do have is some choice over what we will make of our lives once we're here, by Mildred Taylor. And this is how Preleena went about her life. Her studies and her service to all of God's creation and mankind. Additionally, we have a message from her sister-in-law, Shaira, and her family. Preleena was a shining light in the family, always smiling and forever comforting. We enjoyed many moments together. To the family, your mom was special and we will pray for you. Your mom always had a smile and a kind word. She was a joy to know, and heaven has added an angel. God will bless you and look over you and your family at this most difficult time. Preleena was undoubtedly such an amazing person, one you might encounter only once or twice in a lifetime. Her passing has left a massive void in all of our lives, and I won't lie to you, each day is just as hard. This pain we feel will never go away. However, through time it will get easier to manage, with the continued support of family and friends. Preleena was such a friendly, bubbly, and warm person. She would not have wanted us to be sorrowful, but rather to celebrate her life. Celebrate her existence, cherish the memories we have all made with her, be it 1 or 2 encounters or an entire lifetime. She would want us to remain all together, close and united, being happy that we get to spend time together and learning from her life and her experiences. I have paraphrased some lyrics to quote from one of Preleena's favorite songs called Give Me Everything by Pitbull and Neo, and it goes as such. Reach for the stars, and if you don't grab 'em, then at least you'll fall on top of the world. So tonight, let's enjoy life. For all we know, we might not get tomorrow. We never know what tomorrow will bring. So hug your loved ones a little tighter today. Be loving and spontaneous as Preleena was. Never stop learning, reading, meeting people, and making friends. Have a laugh each day. Dance to your favorite song, and get in the car and just go for a drive to wherever the road takes you. Preleena's life has showed us that sometimes you'll meet a stranger. They will enter your home as a friend, but they will become your family. For Preleena, family and friends was everything, and her passing has highlighted this. Many people have really gone above and beyond for the family during this time. It has not gone unnoticed, and we sincerely appreciate it. The earth has lost one of the finest people to exist, a person handpicked from the top drawer of God's table. We are all blessed and so lucky to have been related to or friends with Preleena, and heaven truly has gained an angel. We will miss her for the rest of our lifetime. Our thoughts and prayers and condolences go out especially to Nani, Vikash, Ashira, Karina, and Shahil. We can't imagine what you're going through, the pain and the grief, but I want you to know that I and many others will always be there for you, for anything at any time, today and forever. Preleena Kaki, thank you for being a part of our lives. Please continue to guide and protect your loved ones, and I want you to know that we love you and we will miss you until we meet again. In closing, I leave you with this poem dedicated from my mother, Roshni Ramlall, called I'm Free. Don't grieve for me now, I'm free. I follow the path God laid for me. I took his hand when I heard him call. I turned my back and left it all. I could not stay another day to laugh, love, work, or play. Tasks undone must stay that way. I found my place at the close of day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with the remembered joys. A friendship shared, a love, a laugh, a kiss. Ah yes, these things I too shall miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish you the sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I savored much, good friends, good times, and loves on touch. Perhaps my life seemed too brief. Don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your heart and share with me. God wanted me, now he set me free. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveer, for that message, and thank you for summarizing so many thoughts from family and loved ones as well. And yes, I think, again, it's the idea of celebrating Preleena, of remembering all the lessons of life that she's taught us, and reaching for those stars in our own lives as well. And remembering and celebrating. So thank you very much, Praveer. I'm going to now call upon Preleena's sister-in-law, Miss Diane John, and she's going to pay tribute to Preleena as well. Thank you.
Good evening, Dean, Preleena's fellow colleagues, my dearest family and friends. I am Diane, Preleena's sister-in-law. It's truly an honor and a privilege to pay tribute to a very special and irreplaceable person in our lives, our beloved Preleena. When I sat down to write this tribute, I struggled with what to say. I didn't know where to start. This by far is one of the hardest things I had to do. There are so many beautiful things that I want to say about Preleena, But how could I conceivably communicate what a wonderful person she was? How could I explain the kindness in her heart, the contagiousness of her joy, or the depth of her love? It's just that she was so remarkable. It's not easy to sum up her life in a few short minutes. However, I will try my best to share what Preleena meant to us. Preleena is more than a sister-in-law to me. She is my sister, one of my best friends, confidant, my personal life coach, an incredible aunt to my son Ronaldo and daughter Zia. She has always made me feel comfortable enough to share my worries, and at all times gave me the assurance that everything will be all right. There were times we agreed to disagree, but that never affected the level of respect we had for each other. Our countless chats and laughs around the dining room table is so missed. Our Mother's Day lunches and outings and birthday celebrations. It didn't matter where we went, as long as we were together. At family functions, she was the belle of the ball, full of fun and laughter. She lit up the room wherever she went, and now she is lighting up heaven with her beautiful smile. She had the ability to converse at every level with any age group. She was so carefree and non-judgmental. She accepted everyone no matter who they were, and she loved everyone from family to friends with her bubbly, contagious spirit. She made friends everywhere she went. There was not a person that didn't love Preleena. My last happy memory of Pra is when she visited with the children and my mum-in-law at my new home. Even though her health was not 100%, she was so relaxed and content. A week later, when I spoke to my mum-in-law, she mentioned Pra had been thinking of my crab curry that I had cooked Mother's Day. My heart was so full of joy because she wanted one of my curries. And my mum-in-law is such a fantastic cook. But the fact that she wanted my curry, my heart leapt for joy. I still ask my mum, did Preleena really ask for my crab curry? Wow. I was so privileged to cook for her. Little did I know that would be my last time with her. My last conversation with Preleena was her acknowledgement of what a fantastic husband Vikash was to her, how much she appreciated Ma being a great support and help to her and her family. She also mentioned her appreciation for her kids, for their understanding. The conversation centered around her thankfulness for all her blessings, even though she was going through so much at the time. I can go on and on as the memories I have are so immense and so very precious, all of which brought an unspeakable joy to all. Preleena was all that I prayed for in a sister-in-law. I always gloated how blessed I am with the best in-laws a girl could ever ask for. They are my answered prayer. Knowing Preleena, she wouldn't want us to be sad for her, as she was always a joy and light in all our lives. Even through her days of ill health, she never lost her infectious, positive attitude. The aura that surrounded her personified hope. She never gave up that hope, knowing how much she was loved by family and friends. She was a precious daughter, beloved sister, a tremendous wife, a remarkable mother, and a treasured friend who is much loved and is sadly missed. To Ma, Vikash, Ashira, Karina, and Shasha, we share in your pain and solitude. We pray with you and for you that the Lord Almighty will comfort your heart and heal your hurt. For it is only the Lord that can give us that source of healing and comfort. Be rest assured, in your time of weakness, God will be your strength. Dearest Pra, if I could change what fate arranged, I'd do it in a heartbeat, for I never knew without you. My heart would ache so badly. Know that I will keep you close to me. I miss your craziness and your zest for life. This empty void you left behind cuts like a knife. Thank you, dear Pra, for the great privilege of having been part of your life for 24 years, and for the honor of having you as my sister-in-law. We had something special that a lot of people never have. You are dearly missed beyond measure. May your precious soul rest in peace. To my beautiful nieces, Ashira, Karina, and my nephew, Shasha, your mom is now your angel. You look back on memories you forgot you had, and at times you will smile and it hurts so bad. Your mother is a special woman, and no one can take her place. You will find a peace of mind when you remember her smiling face. Your mom is an angel now. She flies above the rest. And in your heart, always and forever, she will be the best. She has earned her wings, and it is her time to fly. I know it hurts. No one is ever ready to say goodbye. She will be your guardian angel through the rest of your life, helping to lead you on the path between what's right and wrong. Your mom loves you very much, and her love always remained true. She has the most wonderful memories of you that she has flown away with up to heaven, which is her new home to stay. So although you cannot see her and you wish she could be here, your mom can always hear you, and she is alive in your heart. So as you cry your tears, remember your mom's love being sent to you from the beautiful heavens above. Your mom has become an angel. Now is her time to fly. And you will never know how deeply it hurt me to watch you have to say goodbye. Know that I am always here for you. All my love. So before I close this, I just want to thank the staff of WITS for honoring our beloved Preleena, and for everyone who showed up for this beautiful, wonderful woman, and for you to remember all the good times we had with her, and all the lives she touched and she changed with her love. To my girls and to Shasha, this one is for you.
Jesus, I have one prayer. I'm asking you, take a message to the one who always cared. She prayed for me when times were bad, sweet memories of the years we had. I know this time is sad, I'm so glad she's home. Tell her I love her for being my mother. Tell her I miss her. Hug her and kiss her. Tell her I'm pleased that she's gone home. Tell her she's special, a glorious vessel. Angels are singing, heaven's bells are ringing. She's finally home. Praise God, she's finally home.
Thank you, Diane, for those lovely words, and also for the video tribute. Indeed, Pri has been remarkable. She's been so special to each one of us. I remember, I think it was Manini who mentioned in her speech a little earlier in her talk, but Pri made the time to make every one of us feel special. She never made us feel rushed. No matter what her day looked like, But yeah, so she shared a special part with each one of us. So thank you very much for that, Diane. I'm going to call our last speaker for the evening from the family, a close family friend, and that is Amrit Withana. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Today we're gathered to remember our dearest Preleena, my dearest friend, taken from us far too soon. Preleena touched so many people and changed so many lives that it is very hard to try and encompass everything about her in just a few words. She had a way of transforming all those she came into contact with, even if it was for just a brief moment. I first met Preleena when she started coming to Sai Center Bhajans, which are weekly religious gatherings, early in 2017. At the time, I found her to be a very quiet and reserved person, but what stood out for me was the fact that she was always very pleasant, kind, and approachable. Her gentle nature immediately struck a chord with me. Preleena and Vikash then started coming to our weekly street feeding seva activities, which was an evening street feeding program in downtown Mayfair and the surrounding areas. Preleena was always keen to get involved in these service activities, as she seemed very determined to always do her bit. This is also something I got to know about her over time, her steadfast approach to serving those less fortunate than herself. Over time, our sons became good friends, and we ended up spending more and more time together. We would spend weekends meeting each other, going out to movies or eating out to ensure that the kids got time to spend together. This actually resulted in us becoming very close friends. And with time, hardly a day would go by where we wouldn't check in, speak, or chat with one another. In recent times, Preleena would actually joke that as I got busy, she actually needed to make an appointment to just speak with me. And laugh about the fact that when I only had 5 minutes to chat, I would time our talks. Preleena and I used to be able to freely confide in each other. We were able to share details on anything that might be going on in each other's lives, from things that might have been quite difficult to what we might have been planning for dinner that night. Over time, we became very well acquainted with each other's families, friends, and workmates, to the extent that I actually ended up knowing everyone in her circle by name, even before I met them in person. Despite my being a very private person, I still found myself able to share openly and freely with Preleena. What was amazing about Preleena was her ability to light up a room whenever she entered it. She made it a point of greeting everyone, even random strangers or passers-by. I had this experience once when we went into a clothing store together, and she took the time to greet and speak with the security guard at the entrance before entering the store. Preleena's passions around WITS and CCDU extended to life after work. She told me about how she had worked at the CCDU for almost 22 years, and it was so natural for her that she would never ever consider working anywhere else. She often asked me to review her assignments and work packs she had prepared for her students and learners. On occasion, I found myself jumping over scraps of paper in her lounge, working through exercises with her, and often giving her advice on material she had put together. I visited her a few times at WITS and had the pleasure of sitting with her in her office at the CCDU. I distinctly remember the warning she had immediately issued me, suggesting that I needed to be careful when stepping out of her office. The steps leading to a door were quite precarious, and the lack of a ramp made it even more so. One visitor had apparently experienced a nasty fall the other day, and she didn't want me to become a similar victim. We also enjoyed walking around campus and having a coffee at the West Campus coffee shop. Being a former Vitsi myself, I also showed her around the Chamber of Mines building, and all the lecture rooms where I had been sitting for classes all those years ago. One thing Preleena had asked me for was a brief review on what I thought of her as a person. This is part of an assignment that she was busy with last year, and she was really keen on getting my input here. Struggling to put pen to paper, however, I ended up delaying this to the point where I disabled the daily Write Preleena's Review reminders that used to pop up on my phone. I ended up giving her a verbal review, which she accepted. This never quite met the cut for her, though. I guess Pre had a way of making sure I kept my word. So here goes. Preleena, despite the fact that I have known you for a relatively short space of time, I feel that within this time I have gotten to know you very well. They say true friends are hard to come by, and I consider you one of my truest. I value you as a person for your guidance, and you are someone extremely special in my life. Don't worry, by special I do mean you are the right kind of special. You have a wonderful ability to connect with people, make them feel comfortable around you, and want to get to know you better. Your commitment to your family, friends, and work is second to none, and I have a lot to learn from your example. We have spent many moments together, laughing and joking with one another, serving others through several activities, and actually making a difference to many, many people. On a scale of 1 to 10, you rate at least 100 in my books. Some time ago, you sent this message to me, and I now need to say it back to you. I bow my head in silent, humble prayer and thank God for the gift of you. Thank you for being you, my dearest friend. To Vikash, Auntie Devika, Ashira, Karina, Shahil, I know Preleena will continue to be your guiding light, shining from above, leading you in everything that you do. Her presence will continue to be felt, and she will live in your hearts forever. In closing, I would like to quote from a book that Preleena felt compelled to purchase for me a few months ago. The book, entitled The Secret Letters by Robin Sharma, actually talked to several aspects of my life at the time, and I felt it definitely not coincidental that Preleena felt guided to buy it for me. The excerpt reads as follows. Life's simplest pleasures and life's greatest joys. Most people don't discover what's important in life until they are too old to do anything about it. They spend many of their best years pursuing things that matter little in the end. While society invites us to fill our lives with material objects, the best part of us knows that the more basic pleasures are the ones that enrich and sustain us. No matter how easy or hard our current conditions, we all have a wealth of simple blessings around us, waiting to be counted. As we do, our happiness grows, our gratitude expands, and each day becomes a breathtaking gift. Thank you for living life's gift, Preleena. Thank you for teaching me how to see this gift in my life and to begin living it. I will treasure the memories we shared and remember you forever. Thank you.
So, family and friends, that brings us to the end of our program. But I think it would be unwise of me not to take time just to acknowledge the people that Preleena loved and the people that shared in Preleena's life. So firstly, I want to just acknowledge a whole spectrum of individuals that are watching the live stream this afternoon. I know the venue perhaps seems empty. It is because of the times and the circumstances that we find ourselves in. But to acknowledge the senior executive team of Wits University, to acknowledge the broader Wits community, and to acknowledge also family and friends that have taken time to bear with us and to join with us in the memorial via the live stream. I just want to acknowledge you, and I want to say thank you very much for being part of our healing and part of our journey. I want to say thank you very much to the colleagues, to the Dean of Student Affairs, to family that have taken time to be with us. Thank you very much for sharing with us Preleena, most importantly, and the journey and our journeys together. Thank you for being part of our memorial, our celebration, and our journeying this afternoon or this evening. Thank you also to, I think, the team that has helped us set up this event, particularly the guys that have been the technical team that have helped to put this online and to create the live stream for us, and then each and every one of you that have rallied together in putting this event together. I want to acknowledge you as part of the team, and I want to say a special thank you to that as well. I want to also then acknowledge every speaker this afternoon. I know it's not easy. I know there's a lot of emotion still. I know that we are still journeying in the journey of healing, but thank you for taking the time. Thank you for penning down your thoughts. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And with that, this brings us to the end of our memorial here, but the journey still continues. So shall we just stand to our feet this evening? You know, time and time again, I think many of the speakers alluded to that, is that it is hard and it's never easy, and the pain is real, and the hurt is real, and you know, in so many different forms we've heard it, but that the healing comes from God. You know, we can't deny our spiritual selves, our religious selves, and He is part of that key to driving us and to keeping us moving forward. So as we bow our heads and as we close our eyes and as we take this moment of silence to remember Pri, I pray that we would say in our own ways a little prayer, that her soul would find refuge, and that those that remain would continue to find healing and strength as the days would go on. So let us just bow. Thank you. Family and friends, thank you very much. This brings us to the end of our time together this evening. Please travel safely for those of you that are traveling far. And yeah, I don't know if you want to shake hands or greet each other, but whatever you feel comfortable with, you can just spend some time still around. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.